Hi, first grade. Are you ready for some more dinosaurs before dark? When we last read, Jack found a gold medallion in the grass and it had a letter M engraved on it. Do you remember? He ended the chapter by saying, "Oh man, someone came here before us," Jack said softly. Which leads us to chapter 6, Dinosaur Valley. "Annie, look at this," Jack called. "Look what I found." Annie had gone up to the hilltop. She was busy picking a flower from the magnolia tree. "Annie, look, a medallion." But Annie wasn't paying attention to Jack. She was staring at something on the other side of the hill. "Oh, wow," she said. "Annie!" Clutching her magnolia flower, she took off down the hill. "Annie, come back!" Jack shouted. But Annie had disappeared. "Oh, I'm going to kill her," Jack muttered. He stuffed the gold medallion into his jeans pocket. Then he heard Annie shriek. Look, it's our friend, the cat. Get rid of her. Then he heard Annie shriek. "Annie?" Jack heard another sound as well. A deep, bellowing sound, kind of like a tuba. "Jack, come here," Annie called. "Annie!" Jack grabbed his backpack and raced up the hill. When he got to the top, he gasped. The valley below was filled with nests, big nests made out of mud, and the nests were full of tiny dinosaurs. Oh my gosh. My thinking voice is telling me that that is a super exciting discovery. Wow. Okay. Annie was crouching next to one of the nests, and standing over her was a gigantic duck-billed dinosaur. It might not be a duck-billed dinosaur, but we have a cat in our camera space here. Here we go. "Don't panic. Don't move," said Jack. He stepped slowly down the hill towards Annie. The huge dinosaur was towering above Annie, waving her arms, making her tuba sound. Jack stopped. He didn't want to get too close. He knelt on the ground. "Okay. Move towards me, slowly," he said. Annie started to stand up. "Don't stand, crawl," said Jack. Clutching her flower, Annie crawled towards Jack. The duck-billed dinosaur followed her, still bellowing. Annie froze. "Keep going," Jack said softly. Annie started crawling again. Jack inched farther down the hill until he was just an arm's distance from Annie. He reached out and he grabbed her hand. He pulled Annie towards him. "Stay down," he said. He crouched next to her. "Bow your head. Pretend to chew." "Chew?" "Yeah, I read that's what you do if a mean dog comes at you." "She's no dog, Jack," said Annie. "Just chew," said Jack. Jack and Annie both bowed their heads and pretended to chew. Soon the dinosaur grew quiet. Jack raised his head. "I don't think she's mad anymore," he said. "Thanks, Jack, for saving me," said Annie. "You just have to use your brain," said Jack. "You can't go running to a nest of babies. There's always a mother nearby." Annie stood up. "Annie!" Too late. Annie held out her magnolia flower to the dinosaur. "I'm sorry I made you worry about your babies," she said. The dinosaur moved closer to Annie. She grabbed the flower from her. She reached for another. "No more," said Annie. The dinosaur let out a sad tuba sound. "But there are more flowers up there," Annie said. She pointed to the top of the hill. "I'll get you some." Annie hurried up the hill. The dinosaur waddled after her. Jack quickly examined the babies. Some of them were crawling out of the nest. Where were the other mothers? Jack took out the dinosaur book. He flipped through the pages. He found a picture of some duck-billed dinosaurs. He read the caption. The Anatosauruses lived in colonies. While a few mothers babysat the nests, the others hunted for food. Ah, so there must be more mothers close by. Hey, Jack, Annie called. Jack looked up. Annie was at the top of the hill feeding magnolia flowers to the giant Anatosaurus. She's nice too, Jack, Annie said. But suddenly, the Anatosaurus made her terrible tuba sound. Annie crouched down and started to chew. The dinosaur barged down the hill. She seemed to be afraid of something. Jack put the book down on top of his pack, and he hurried towards Annie. What do you think that dinosaur is afraid of? I'm going to use my inference because we keep meeting new dinosaurs. I'm thinking I'm going to infer. What are you going to infer? If you said there might be another dinosaur coming, that's what I'm thinking too. I wonder why she ran away, said Annie. We were starting to be friends. Jack looked around. What he saw up in the distance almost made him throw up. An enormous, ugly monster was coming across the plain. He was walking on two big legs, and he was swinging a long, thick tail, and he was dangling two tiny arms. He had a huge head, and his jaws were wide open. Even from far away, Jack could see his long, gleaming teeth. Tyrannosaurus Rex, whispered Jack. Chapter 7, Ready, Set, Go. Run, Annie, run, cried Jack, to the treehouse. They dashed down the hill together, through the tall grass, through the ferns, past the pterodon, and right to the rope ladder. They scrambled up. Seconds later, they tumbled into the treehouse. Annie leaped to the window. He's going away, she said, panting. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He looked through the window with her. The Tyrannosaurus was wandering off. But then the monster stopped and turned around. Duck, said Jack, and the two of them hunched down. After a long moment, they raised their heads. They peeked out again. Oh, coast clear, said Jack. Yay, whispered Annie. We have to get out of here, said Jack. You made a wish before, said Annie. I wish we could go back to Frog Creek, said Jack. But nothing happened. I wish... Wait, you were looking at a picture in the dinosaur book, remember? The dinosaur book, Jack groaned. Oh, no. I left the book and my pack on the hill. I'm going to have to go back. Forget it, said Annie. I can't, said Jack. The book doesn't belong to us. Plus, my notebook is in the pack with all of my notes. Okay, hurry, said Annie. Jack hurried down the rope ladder. He leaped to the ground. He raced past the pterodon, through the ferns, through the tall grass, and up the hill. He looked down, and there was his pack, lying on the ground, and on top of it was the dinosaur book. But now the valley below was filled with Anatosauruses. They were all standing guard around their nests. Where had they been? Did fear of the Tyrannosaurus send them home? Jack took a deep breath. Ready, set, go. He charged down the hill. He leaped to his backpack. He scooped it up. He grabbed the dinosaur book. And then he heard a terrible tuba sound, and then another and another. All the Anatosauruses were bellowing at him. Jack took off. He raced up the hilltop. He started down the hill, and he stopped. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was back, and he was standing between Jack and the treehouse. That's where I'm going to stop. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.